Welcome everyone. Today we are going to learn what happens behind the scenes when you create an account, log in, and reset your password on a website. When we visit a website for the first time, we are usually asked to create an account. We fill in details such as our username, email, address, password, and other informations. Once we click the create account or sign up button, the information is sent from the browser to the web server. At this point, everything that happens is hidden from the user. We only see the form, but there's a lot of processing happening in the background. The server first receives the username, email, and password before storing the password in the database. The server does something very important. Instead of saving the actual password, it converts the password into hash. A hash is basically one-way mathematical transformation. For example, if the user chooses the password my password 123, the server may convert it into something that looks like 8F4A7B2C9 in that order. This new value is called a hash. The important thing to understand is that hashing is not encryption. Take note, hashing is not encryption. Encryption can be reversed if you have the correct key. Hashing cannot be reversed. Once a password is hashed, it cannot be converted back into the original password. After hashing the password, the server stores the username, email, and hashed password in the database. A simplified SQL statement might look like this: insert into username, in bracket username, email, password underscore hash, bracket close, values, bracket open, John in quote, johnexample.com as the Gmail in quote, hash password in quote, bracket close, semicolon. The database now stores only the hash and not the actual password. Now, let's see what happens when the user returns to log in. The user enters their username and password on the login page and clicks the login button. Again, the server receives the information. The password entered by the username is hashed using the same hashing algorithm that was used during the registration. Suppose the user enters my password 123. The server hashes it and produces 8F4A7B2C9 whatever and so on. Now, the server then retrieves the stored hash from the database. A simplified SQL query, structured query language, may look like select password underscore hash from user, where username equals John in quote. The database returns the stored hash. The server compares the newly generated hash with the hash stored in the database. If the two hashes match, the server knows that the user entered the correct password. The server then creates a session or authentication. An authentication token and grants access to the user's account. If the hashes do not match, take note, access is denied and the user receives an error message such as invalid username or password. Notice that at no point does the server need to know the user's original password. It only compares hashes, like I mentioned earlier. Now, let's move on to the password reset process. Imagine that the user has forgotten their password. The user clicks on the forget password link, usually on login pages, when you forget your password, you would see a forget password link. The website asks the user to enter the email address associated with the account. After the email address is submitted, the server checks whether that email exists in the database. If the account exists, the server generates a long random string known as password reset token. An example reset token might look like this: A7F9C3D8 blah 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 blah. Now, the server stores this token in the database and associates it with the user's account. It also records an expiration date, such as 15 minutes or 30 minutes. A reset link containing the token is then sent to the user's email. The link may look like this: https://example.com/reset-password ? Token equals AZF9C3D blah 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 blah. So when the user clicks the link, the browser sends the token back to the server. The server checks whether the token exists, whether it belongs to the correct user, and whether it has not expired. Remember, we said it also records an expiration time. If the token is valid, the user is shown a password reset page where they can enter a new password. The user enters the new password, confirms it, and clicks submit, just like during registration. The server hashes the new password before storing it again. The old password hash in the database is then replaced with the new password hash. The reset token is then deleted or marked as used so that it cannot be used again. Take note, the next time the user logs in, the server will compare the entered password again against the newly hashed password. If the hashes match, then access is granted successfully. And that's how modern websites securely handle account creation, login authentication, password hashing, and password resets behind the scenes.